Alright, so to begin, we're going to create a new scene. And you can use any mesh for this, but I'm just going to use the cube mesh. Going to go ahead and subdivide it 2 times. And then what you want to do with your mesh is create a duplicate of it. And in edit mode, you hit X and delete only edges and faces, so only your vertices are left. You want to add a skin modifier, and that's just going to add a, it's going to generate geometry around your vertices. Add a subdivision modifier, and we'll just keep that on 1 for the sake of this tutorial. And then you want to add two displacement modifiers. One at the top of your stack and one at the bottom of the modifier stack. And the first one is going to control the actual distance from your object. And then the second is going to control the actual size of those dots there. And you'll actually notice too that the strength here isn't, it doesn't perform like it should. Like if you go to 0 here, that's obviously larger than it was before. I'm not sure why it does that, but it doesn't really matter as far as I'm concerned. You want to add a new displacement texture. This is the texture that's going to procedurally control all of your effects here, so you can control the animation and the points and the mesh all with one variable, and you don't have to go in and manually change it. So you're going to your main mesh now, and then going back to your modifier stack, and you're going to add a displacement modifier, and then a wireframe modifier. And you want to set your displacement to the same texture that you set up for the other one. You can already see it's all matching up now. Go ahead and adjust your strength. And there's a few different things you can do to clean this up. In your skin modifier, there's a smooth shading option here. If you just tick that, it's going to get rid of your hard edges on your dots. And I'm just going to adjust the thickness to something that looks good. Okay, and now to make it look pretty. So if you're doing this in Eevee, which I am for the sake of render times, you want to turn on bloom and turn on depth of field, which is already on. You can control your depth of field by adding an empty and clicking on your camera and going to the camera settings and enabling depth of field here and selecting your empty as your focus object. And then we're going to turn the f-stop to something like 0.4 and see how that comes out. Hitting 0 on the num pad to view the scene through our camera, and going in the side menu here that I brought up with N, and hitting lock camera to view so we can move it around. In the world settings tab, I'm going to color and turning it down to black, turning off overlays just so we can see things a little clearer. It's not going to actually affect the render. And you'll see the empty is now driving our depth of field. Going to go to our dots here and add a new emission material so they glow. And then going to our wireframe, adding a new material, and we'll make it red. Now you can control your effect by going to your displacement texture and changing the settings here. There's a size variable, and with some other textures there are other settings you can adjust in here as well. And to animate it over the timeline, all you need to do is hover over your option and hit I on your keyboard, and that's going to add a keyframe. So variable here matches up with frame 1. If you go to frame 30 and change it to 0.63 and hit I again, you'll see that it interpolates between the two variables, between frame 10 and frame 30.